Hey, what is up, mortals? It is TCQ here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 7 of season 1 of What If Deku was Miles Morales Spider-Man. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So we begin. The drones start to leave as the pro heroes were about to defeat the sand-based villain. As the first students started to enter the stadium, Midoriya noticed that his spider sense continued to go off. As the green-haired boy entered the stadium, he noticed the crowd was silent. A purple cloud started to form overhead. The portal started to grow bigger as bombs started to fall out of the portal. The students from Class 1A started to help evacuate the innocent civilians. As the first bomb hit the ground in the center of the stadium, the bomb went off. The explosive device left a large crater in the ground than normal. As the portal grew larger and larger, some of the bombs landed in the stadium. Anyone who was too close to the bombs when they went off died. Bodies of heroes and civilians started to fly as the bombs started to claim lives. After several minutes, the portal closed, leaving a wake of destruction in its place. Bodies were strewn about, and some were even missing limbs. The stadium was littered in scorch marks and craters from the explosions. Sirens could be heard in the distance as the ambulances and the police started to arrive. 3 days later, Class 1A was sitting in the classroom. One seat was noticeably empty. It turned out that the sand-based villain named Sandman had killed several students. Public pressure had started to mount on UA to explain how villains managed to invade their facility twice. The pressure had gotten so bad, there were rumors that hero schools were being forced across the country to revise their curriculums. Aizawa walked into the classroom and saw his students looking sad. The pro hero saw his students have a defeating look on their faces. They were only children, and they already learned that villains were willing to kill them. The worst part is the government has forced UA to remove part of their curriculum. The black-haired teacher had to find a way to explain that the worst had yet to come. With a sigh, Eraserhead got the attention of his students.
The sports festival is a chance for the Hero Corps students to show the pros what they can do. Normally, pros would have the chance to make offers to the students.
Aizawa said, glumly.
However, due to the recent string of villain activity, the government decided it was too dangerous to let students without a hero's license to have an internship with an agency. Currently, there are other changes that are being considered.
What kind of changes are we talking about, sir? Surely radical changes like this have to be discussed with hero schools first?
Ida said with anger in his tone.
Then UA pride itself on being a non-traditional school. Why is Nezu canceling a chance for students to gain experience about the job of a pro hero?
It was one of the easiest changes to make, and encouraging the Hero Safety Commission to avoid changing how a person gets their license.
Eraserhead said with a sad tone of voice.
They are currently debating on whether or not to require students to take their provisional license exam in their 3rd year. Nezu is trying to avoid the whole system being overhauled. However, it seems he has to make sacrifices. Besides, Ida, you're not in the right mind to judge him.
The classroom was filled with an eerie silence. Everyone had learned that their class president's brother had been attacked by the hero killer. Despite their classmates' distress, no one knew how to help him. Class 1A wasn't sure how to help the blue-haired boy deal with the situation. Some of the students were still reeling from the loss of a classmate.
Ida, I know it's hard, but seeking revenge will only prove staying correct. If you truly want to get revenge, then show the hero killer that your brother was a true hero.
The black-haired teacher said calmly as he stared at his blue-haired student.
Show the hero killer that you'll learn to save people first from your brother, making him regret harming your brother by saving people.
Thank you, Sensei. I just can't let this anger go, sir.
The boy with glasses said as he tried to calm down.
Ida, it's okay to be angry. We just can't let it control us. If you ever need to talk about it, the class is here for you.
Midori said nervously.
At least your brother is still alive. Imagine the anger and the grief that Manetta's family feels. We need to show them that his sacrifice wasn't in vain, that we saved people for him.
Everyone in the class turned to look at the green-haired boy. It was hard to picture the class without the pervert. However, Midoriya did bring up a good point. The class only knew Mineta for a few weeks. The loss only felt that much bigger for his family. Regardless of the class's opinion on the purple-haired midget, no one wanted him to have the fate he had.
Sadly, that brings me to another piece of bad news. Manetta's family asked that the school not send anyone. They want this to be a private affair. They're afraid that UA would bring unwanted attention.
Class 1A's homeroom teacher said grimly.
They also asked for only UA only holds something for Manetta for his class. His family feels that if the sports festival wasn't a publicized event, he would still be alive.
This got the class to start muttering amongst themselves. It felt like a stab in the back since they couldn't give their classmate a proper send-off. While the class agreed with the family regarding the funeral, most of the class felt it was unfair that they couldn't allow other students to move on from the loss of a fellow student. They could also tell that their teacher wasn't finished giving them the news.
Another piece of bad news is that the public pressure is forcing Nezu to revamp the security around the facility, where we train hero students in the summer.
Aizawa said, sounding annoyed at all of the interference in the school's day-to-day business.
Currently, we are trying to upgrade the security around the place. The only bright side is that some villains don't want to be associated with the Sinister Six. It seems the villain world isn't thrilled with attacking students.
Why can't those extras just leave us alone? How can we mourn someone's passing if we don't have free time to do it?
Bakugo shouted angrily.
It's like society is just ceding ground to those villains. What's next? We can't go to the USJ without heroes there to protect us.
Bakugo, enough! At this point, Nezu would settle for that. I can't tell you how bad the pressure is out there for hero schools to protect their students.
Eraserhead said angrily as he glared at his students.
Some families that lost loved ones because of the villains asked the Hero Public Safety Commission to ban hero schools from teaching other career paths.
The class sat there, stunned and confused. They were unsure of how to process this. Some were just hoping that the nightmare would simply end. Others in the class were using this as a chance to grow from what they experienced. A noise could be heard as the UA barrier activated. With a sigh, the students looked at the window and noticed the gates were sealed shut. Another problem was that their teacher didn't seem finished. Every student had questions for their teacher, but they decided to wait until he finished talking. A few minutes later, the barrier went down, and no one dared to speak.
With all of these restrictions, how are we supposed to become heroes? If we can't interact with other students, how are we supposed to learn how to interact with civilians?
Todoroki said calmly.
Simply, you don't. After everything that has happened, the commission thinks that having a social life is too dangerous. Nezu decided to move everyone into dorms.
Aizawa said calmly.
After the most recent attack, Nezu thought it would be better if the students lived on campus instead of living with their families. Nezu is having your stuff moved into the dorms over the next few days.
The class stared in shock at the announcement. None of them were expecting that announcement. The class started to talk among themselves at the news. Some of the students were concerned that they wouldn't be able to see their families during the school year. Other students were concerned that their stuff would be damaged as it was brought to the school. Aizawa let his class talk among themselves as he tried to judge their reactions. He noticed that some of the students seemed unconvinced regarding the current situation. As their teacher, he couldn't blame them for their reactions. As a pro hero, he was starting to get annoyed with the fact that he had to interact with the press at least once a month. With his job as a pro hero and teacher, it was becoming harder and harder for him to find time to sleep. Midnight mentioned during the meeting that Nezu had with the teaching staff that she might stop teaching and focus on being a hero. It was becoming impossible for her and some of the other teachers to do their job. The homeroom teacher for Class 1B retired as a hero so he could focus on teaching the next generation. Some of the heroes that worked at UA were moving their agency closer to the school to make it easier to do their job. Nezu asked the teachers who decided to do both to reduce their hours for one, so they had a chance to sleep.
Nezu has required teachers to focus on mental health given the recent offense. He said he would inform us when Recovery Girl would start checking up on the students' mental health.
The black-haired teacher said calmly,
I know that some of you want to release some of the nervous energy that you have. Tomorrow you will have a chance to move into the dorm, along with a new student joining the class. For the rest of the day today, we will be doing hero training.
The class relaxed when they learned that they would have a chance to move in. Some of the other students were concerned that they would have to move on while trying to keep up with their studies. There was still a dark shadow hanging over the class. How could they bring in a new student to fill a spot when they couldn't prevent why it opened up in the first place? Midori's hand was glowing green as he nervously looked around the room. The teacher's phone buzzed as he got a notification.
It seems that Principal Nezu decided to cancel the final exams. It felt it was important to give the teachers a chance to think about their current predicament. It is currently taking steps to increase security around the training camp.
Aizawa said as he activated his quirk.
It's clear that some of you need to work on your quirk and train yourself mentally. However, it does mean that the training camp will be far more intense, since we can't assess your current level.
The class let out a depressed sigh as they listened to their teacher. Some of the class wasn't ready for the training to get harder. Overall, the situation felt bleak. It felt as if the students were being thrust into a conflict they weren't trained for. The rest of the class was waiting for their teacher to tell them to change.
I can't control the current situation. However, I can train you so that you are better prepared to handle tomorrow.
Eraserhead said as he tried to sound happy.
Everyone here has earned their place as a hero after you survived multiple villain attacks. Go change into your hero costumes so we can start your training.
Before we get back into the video, I'd like to talk about our new channel, Celestia, our channel dedicated to all things Dungeons and Dragons. Currently, we have a series breaking down the different spells in D&D, and soon we'll be starting some new series as well. So if you're a fan of D&D, or have an interest in learning about it, check it out. Additionally, if there is something you've always wanted to see get made into a video, head over there and leave a comment mentioning it. 2 weeks later, the class was sitting on the bus on their way to the training camp. Most of the students in 1A were getting used to living in the dorms. One student was noticeably happier to be away from home. Everyone in Class 1A wondered why Shoto wasn't using the fire part of his quirk. Some of the students thought he refused to use his fire side because he was better than everyone else. Izuku found it annoying since everyone in Class 1A was trying their hardest. Despite this, Midoriya thought that the half-and-half classmate thought he could get by without trying his hardest. Bakugo had taken to calling him half-and-half because of his lack of effort. Despite the boy's obvious hatred for his father, the rest of his class started leaving him alone because of his arrogant-like attitude. Aizawa had noticed this and privately spoke to Nezu about it. They decided that they would separate the class into smaller groups and force the students to use their quirks to their fullest. Eraserhead examined his students' body language to see if they were properly handling the loss of their classmate. Another thing he was looking for was signs of depression to see if any students were trying to fake their emotions. he decided it was time to announce the way the camp would start. The pro hero quickly got his students' attention and made sure they fell silent.
After seeing the abysmal performance of this class in training, Nezu and I decided to change the introduction to the training camp. The class will split into 5 groups of 4. I will warn you that if a teacher or a pro finds you lacking, you will receive extra training.
Aizawa said in a serious tone as he examined his class.
Some of you seem to need extra lessons, since you seem to think being a hero is a joke. Nezu also asked the hero responsible for the opening trial to increase the difficulty. If you were planning on using part of your quirk, or not using it at all, think again. The training has to accommodate the fact that the powerful villains are now targeting you.
The black-haired teacher started to announce the groups that each student would be in. He also gave each group a color armband so the heroes could monitor their progress. The color was determined by the hair color of a member in the team. The goal was to represent the hero team being thrown together at the last minute. It also required everyone to work together and develop a strategy to defend themselves from an unknown threat. Several hours later, the bus pulled over to the side of the road. The class could see that they were on the side of a mountain overlooking a forest. Their teacher called each group one at a time. No one inside the bus was sure what was going on. Some of the people on the inside of the bus thought they heard screaming outside. Each group was called out until the only 4 students left in the bus were Tenya Ida, Shoto Todoroki, Katsuki Bakugo, and Izuku Midoriya.
Problem, children. You were selected to be the last because of the issues you need to overcome. Midoriya, you need to stop being nervous, because it won't help calm civilians you are saving down. Bakugo, you need to stop being so aggressive.
Aizawa said as he stared at the 4 boys left in the bus.
Ida, you are still blinded by vengeance and need to move past it. It's quite obvious that you would let a civilian die to pursue Stain, which is a move that is unheroic. Todoroki, you need to let go of whatever issue is preventing you from using your fire side. It's becoming quite clear that you are not operating at your best.
All 4 boys were alerted to the fact that the ground underneath the bus moved. When they looked outside, they saw 4 of their classmates falling to the forest below. Their teacher smirked as he motioned for them to get off the bus. Once everyone was off the bus, Eraserhead pulled his goggles over his head and stared at the 4 remaining students. Aizawa gave a thumbs up and moved to the side.
You need to follow your classmates' trail and make it to the location where we have the summer training camp. Unlike the other groups, you guys have to find your own way to land.
Aizawa said calmly as the ground shifted under him.
Keep in mind there is no need to hold back. This land is owned by the wild pussycats, so you can use your full power. Todoroki, if you don't start using your fire more, monsters will appear.
As their teacher finished speaking, the ground tossed the 4 remaining students into the air. Bakugo started to use his explosions to slow his descent. Todoroki simply unleashed a wave of ice with his right side. However, he ended up pushing his 3 other classmates closer to the ground. As he slid down the ice, he noticed that a strange earth monster was charging him. Despite the fact that he had plenty of time to react, his right side was frozen over. Shoto stubbornly refused to use his fire side, allowing the creature to land the first blow. As Todoroki was slammed into the ice he made, he wondered where the rest of his team were. It finally dawned on him that he didn't take them into consideration when he unleashed his ice. He started to look around for his team as he started to thaw himself. The first one he noticed was Ida, who landed on the ground covered in tree branches. The second one he noticed was his classmate Bakugo, who was busy destroying another earth beast. The only one he couldn't find was Midoriya. Given the condition of the class president, the red and white-haired boy realized that his green-haired classmate might be in a similar position. As he dodged to the side and avoided an attack from the earth monster, he saw the blue-haired boy start to recover. "Ida, look out! We're being attacked by strange creatures!" Todoroki yelled as he tried to warn his classmate about the creature trying to attack him. He realized in horror that it was too late and his classmate couldn't recover in time to fend off the attack. His fireside flared to life as he tried to get down there to protect his teammate who was recovering. Before the beast could attack Ida, another one came flying towards it. The two beasts collided and started to break apart. Todoroki noticed Midoriya rushing towards their fallen teammate. Izuku, without thinking, grabbed his teammate and moved him away from the falling debris. The green-haired boy noticed that his other two teammates weren't paying attention to the surrounding area. He was grateful for his enhanced durability, otherwise he would be in a similar position to Ida. The emerald-eyed student pointed towards Shoto in an attempt to warn him of the oncoming attack. If the attack landed, the poor boy would likely pass out. Todoroki was confused for a second as he saw his classmate point at him. Instinctively, he used his eyes to shift his direction to the left. As he did that, he noticed the earth beast almost hit him. For the first time, he realized that teamwork was the only way for the group to progress forward. Shoto noticed that his classmate was heading towards Katsuki, so he decided to head towards his explosive classmate. "Bakugo, there's another earth creature on your left side! Shift to your right!" Shoto shouted towards his classmate as he sent a gout of flame towards the beast. "Don't make my mistake by preventing people from helping you!"
"Took you long enough, half-half. Glad you finally realized that you were holding back this entire time."
Bakugo snarled as he blasted himself to the right.
"Don't make the same mistake again. You won't have Deku to bail you out the next time. Don't let your issues define who you are."
Todoroki, I know you have an issue with your father, but the fire is your quirk. Stop letting him control whether or not you use your fire side.
Midoriya shouted as he tried to move towards Bakugo.
Be the hero you want to be, not the hero someone else wants you to be. You can take control of your future.
As Ida started to fully recover, he realized that Todoroki let his anger and desire for revenge against his father dictate his actions. For the first time, Tenya realized that revenge wasn't the path he wanted to go down. The blue-haired boy wanted to make his brother proud, and seeking revenge was not the way to do it. He took the time to look around and noticed that the earth beasts were giving them a chance to regroup. This meant the teachers had made sure to avoid overwhelming the students.
"Midoriya, I'm fine now. Thank you for saving me. I can move on my own,"
Ida said as he watched fire collide with the earth beast that attacked Bakugo from the left.
"Midoriya, you should focus on your own well-being. I can take care of myself."
We are a team. Stop trying to do this alone, Ida. I need you to look around and warn us about where the earth beasts are. I believe we might be able to pass the first group on our way to the training ground.
Midoriya mumbled as he started to come up with a plan.
Bakugo can get an aerial view of the area and warn us of potential ambushes or dangers. Todoroki can make sure that we don't get overwhelmed by controlling the area where these beasts attack us from. Ida, you can be our scout since you can outrun the beasts.
Ida stared at Midoriya in shock as he listened to his friend ramble on about the plan. It was amazing to see how fast his classmate could come up with a plan of action for this situation. This made the blue-haired boy more determined to help his friend succeed. He didn't even consider the idea that they could get to the front of the group. He was amazed by the optimism that his friend had.
"Alright, Deku, stop stuttering. I like the idea of passing the first group, but we first need to get in a safe spot to discuss our plan."
Katsuki snarled, knowing his friend was already getting distracted coming up with a plan.
"We don't have time for you to get lost in your own world analyzing this situation. Please focus on making sure we deal with these earth beasts quickly."
Midoriya snapped out of his train of thought as he heard his childhood friend yell at him. He also stopped focusing on his idea as his spider sense went off. The green-haired boy jumped to his left onto a tree as an earth beast slammed his foot down where he previously was. Without pausing, Izuku jumped off the tree and continued running towards his friend. Todoroki met up with Bakugo and froze one of the earth beasts that attacked the atomic blonde. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all of this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to thank our sponsors. Secondly, I'd like to thank all of our YouTube members. Thirdly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check out if you're interested. Fourthly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend out an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it for today's video. So, thank you all for watching, and have a great day.